Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. Tonight, we got the weekly roundup number 1 edition. It's me, Dwayne, here, bringing it to you with Ox once again. Welcome back to the booth, Ox. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Dwayne? Good to be back here again, just a night after the big match of the week last night.
Yeah, dude, it was a pleasure to call that one with you last night. Lazy and Weaver, absolutely eye-popping pair of games, big split on match of the week last night. And we're going to go over all the rest of the action that happened in week 1 across all 3 leagues here on Weekly Roundup tonight. We have power rankings, some storylines to follow up from Wishbone that he always kindly picks out for us. And then we got plays of the week coming back at you. Some really great submissions this week, even though there weren't quite as many as we might have thought. Hopefully we get more next week, but there's so many good plays we actually had to pick from either way. So let's go ahead and not waste any more time. Let's get started. First off, we got the AA power rankings.
Yeah, just wanted to say last week, it was kind of the preseason roundup, get hype week, but this is the first true, we have some results to go off of, some top plays. It's exciting to, get back into our routine.
Absolutely. It's extremely exciting to get right back into things. And we start off here at the bottom of AA. It's going to be the Scratch and Sniffs, who are actually tied for 12th. So as we move up here in a second, we're going to see who they're tied with. Tough start for Starry Bucco in his rookie season.
Yeah, there's a couple of rookies, three or four actually in the Double A who've gotten off to some slow starts, but there is a learning curve in this league, and I'm sure they're going to bounce back as we
Absolutely.
move on into the other team tied for 12th here.
Yeah, it's basically 9, 10, 11 here, as we do have a fair bit of ties, actually, as you can see. We got the Sea Monsters and Captain Bruisin, who picked up his first pair of wins, and Joey as well and his Teamsters, who picked up 2 this week, and then L7 and or Dad Slush and the L7s, who went 0 and 3. They're the ones who are tied there with Staribuko.
Yeah, Slush and Staribuko trying to get off the schneid at 0 and 3 and 0 and 4 there, I think, and then Joey played a lot of games. And Sea Monster's a bit of an unknown. They won some games, so good for them. They moved up into their 9th spot there.
Yeah, sweep against Slush, so both these players are already playing each other in this little section here. So it'll be interesting to see how the Double A continues to shake out. A lot of these players relatively new. As we're going to move up the board, it's ranked 7, 8, and 9. We see Snowbird, who returns to Double A from Triple A this season. A little bit of a rough start, dropping 2 to Rick and 1 to the Teamsters. Fresh Poet, who's currently 0 and 4, played a couple of eye-popping games with you today, Ox. Those were insane scorelines. And then the Saints and Azrael, quiet debut, early week games, able to put up some big runs in the one victory they did have.
Yeah, I think Azrael has a mercy victory, so dangerous there. And as you might see later, he was very close to giving me a ball game in one of our sets as Fresh Poet. He can hit with anybody, man. I found out today that guy can hit the baseball, and he's played me in Rise and Fall so far. So kind of skewed results for him. And the Black Roses, they're going to be dangerous. That's a bit of a fluky start for those 7th and 8th ranked teams there.
Yeah, will be interesting to see in this middle section who tries to challenge the top of the pack as we move up the Double A board to ranks 4, 5, and 6. And there's a tie at number 4 between AG and Tam Danins, who makes his return from the Triple A, and then Rick and his debut Magicians this season at rank number 6. So with the veteran in the sandwich here between the new players, everybody here put up a fair bit of numbers already offensively. It's just the pitching, especially in Double A, that seems to be a bit of an issue for a lot of players. Tam, though, really eye-popping offensive numbers so far.
Yeah, I think Tam, I'm surprised to see him tied with 4th. That guy's top 2 in the league, in my opinion. He's going to be really tough to beat, as you see the unbeaten record there. And AG as well, who actually just swept Rick earlier today. So that's those 2 guys right there I have in my top 3, actually. They're going to be as tough to beat as anybody.
Yeah, it's interesting to see who's going to be stacked up above him, but I think many would agree after you saw the early week return from the Razorbacks, who end up the number 1 ranked team here in XBL's Double A this week, followed by Oxidus Nazgul 9, who take the dive from the number 1 spot, and then a bit of a drop as well for Pirates, who were tied with you last week.
Yeah, I mean, Rise split with AG, so that's both of those guys' only losses are 1 to each other. So bit of a wash there. And then the Razorbacks sitting at 2-0 with the Mercy win. They're looking strong, coming back. We welcome them back, of course. Good to have Ben back, and he takes over the top spot for this week. And that's going to wrap up the Double A rankings for week, the first official week here.
Yeah, lots of new players involved and some old faces returning, as we said, in the Double A, so it'll be really exciting to see how that shakes out next week, especially as more games start to get played down there. We're going to head over to AAA rankings right here, as we see as number 13 and 14, Diesel and the Hikers take a bit of a dip from the 11th spot to 13th, and then Heisman and the Stars holding pat down there at number 14. He did pick up a win this week against the Milkmen, who originally were ranked number 1, so interesting to see how that'll affect them up the ladder.
Yeah, that's a great win for Heisman. Both of these teams, as you see, struggling to start the season. And we didn't get to see Mist versus Hikers last night. So, a bit of a rough start for Hikers. Both of these guys 0 for otherwise against the top 2 teams, potentially, in Milkman and Tezzy, who Hikers took a game off of. So a bit surprising there. Both of their 1 victories were a bit eye-opening, but, they're going to look to get back, chase that 500 record as the season moves along.
Yeah, for sure. I think both these players just off to a bit of a slow start in the AAA. We'll slide up the board now to ranks 10, 11, and 12. We've got the debut Golden Doodles in deck. They're ranked number 10. Black Coffee and his rookie Purple Pumas at rank number 11, and Ball Justice, also a rookie, at rank number 12. Every team here respectively picking up their first win this week. Ball Justice able to pick up a pair against the Purple Pumas, who are actually ranked above them.
Yeah, a bit interesting to see Pumas ranked above Ball Justice, but both of those guys, Ball Justice and Pumas, have lost a lot of one-run games, so that's tough luck to start the season there with a lot of games played. But all three of those guys capable of beating anybody in the AAA. Definitely some strong players, and only way to go is up right now.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, I'm looking right here at the defensive stats for the Purple Pumas and Ball Justice, respectively, and they couldn't be almost the same in every category. It's insane. 4.68 runs allowed, 4.69 runs allowed. Batting averages are 1 point apart. Home runs are 2 apart. They've both played a lot of close games, like you just said. So I think both these players should pick up a bit more steam heading forward as well. Same with the Golden Doodles. They have actually went after a pretty tough schedule so far. So this is where things are going to start getting interesting in the AAA, as this ladder, we see a lot of talented players moving up.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see both leagues where the newer guys are going to struggle out the gate, just pure not knowing their opponent and playing some close games. But the returning guys, the more experienced XBL guys, might have the edge there in those close games early in the season. But look out, come playoff time or the second time around, those guys are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, for sure, especially in those round robins that we do have scheduled up as well. It's going to be neat to see players paired up again in those groups and see who will end up getting the edge there. Maybe, we'll see some repeat matchups of some close games that might end up going the other way. We see
I'm so excited for that format, man. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Everyone's going to get a chance to play a lot more games. We'll take a look here at rank 7, 8, and 9. The Unholy Milkmen taking a huge drop to rank number 7 from rank number 1 last week. Obviously, results in the first week can be pretty polarizing in the way someone may or may not look at the voting and things like that. Tough start, though, for the Milkmen, sees them at 500. Behind them at rank number 8 is Dark Raider in his debut, Rockets. Good 4-2 week for him. And then Mist trading places with Rockets, down at rank number 9, dropping from 8th last week. 0-4 start for Mist, but still a lot of faith in the hardworking Mr. Incorporated.
Yeah, tough start for Mist. He's still battling some physical stuff, and we've seen actually him have some good games against you on stream. So the Rocket, Dark Raider, he's coming out. He's proven he can compete with anybody in the AAA for sure. And the Milkmen, they're pulling the same script, I think, as he pulled last year. Preseason number 1, he comes out, he plays kind of bad the first couple weeks, tanks his record, and then finishes strong once he gets, figuring things out, and really has some momentum coming into the playoffs. And that's how you want to do it if you're in AA or AAA. So I'm not real worried about the Milkmen start.
Yeah, we'll see. 500 takes them in the upward trend, like you said. Lots more games to be played either way for all the teams here in all 3 leagues. We move up to ranks number 4, 5, and 6 in the AAA. The Base Bandits and No Name staying where they were last week after a great 5-1 start, followed by Eduardo and the Sirloins also at 5-1. Great start for them. Good rank number 5. And then Femme Fatales and Chronic Lies taking a bit of a dip. Remember, they were in the AAA World Series last season, remaining in the AAA, and a bit of a slow start at 2-1, rank number 6.
Yeah, we see really good starts by Eduardo and No Name. Their only losses being 1 to each other, so they're 5-0. Otherwise, really good starts for 2 veterans in this league now. Chronic, a lot of people said got snubbed at the 4 spot preseason ranking, like you said, the AAA runner-up last season. And Deck, I believe, shout out to Deck for taking a game off the Fatales. I think it was Deck. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Indeed, it was. It says right at the bottom there. CGD, Cincinnati Golden Doodles.
Yeah, I'm getting old, Dwayne. Turn 31 soon. But
okay.
Chronic is, I wouldn't say he's having a slow start to the season, just 2-1, but people are just kind of leapfrogging him here, and we'll see how their season progresses.
absolutely, as more games get to be played for the Femme Fatales, you probably think they will rise up the rankings, but it is going to be tough against teams like the Base Bandits and the Sirloins, who are having great starts to the AAA season. Let's take a look at the top here, ranks number 1, 2, and 3. We see the Heavy Hitters debuting at number 1 for themselves this week, followed by the Foxes and Blue Panther, who take a big jump from number 7, pretty much almost swapping places with Yeezus, barring the fact that Tezzy hopped over there into number 1. And then Big George and the Night Owls, still a very experienced player coming from the Federal League, ranked at number 3, still at number 3 this week after a good 5-1 start.
Yeah, Big George is a really good player. Shout out to Tezzy, though, the Heavy Hitters with that new logo. Like, he likes to revamp each season. Looking good, Tezzy, man. Great start to the season. Like I mentioned, D. Sil took a game off of him. That's his only loss on the season. And Foxes and the Owls there at 2-3. Those guys are neck and neck. They split their matchup against each other, and they're going to be as good as anybody in the AAA for sure. Those are definitely the 3 guys to beat, I'd say, out the gate here in AAA.
Yeah, for sure. Big week ones from all these teams, and the players at 4 and 5 following Eduardo and No Name are hot on their tail. So really, the entire top half of this AAA, all fighting for the guaranteed top 6 round robin as it stands right now. So being in the top 6 of the AAA is going to be extremely important right now. The teams that are there are looking pretty good. So we'll see how that develops as we move along through the weeks of Season 12. Let's slide on over to the XBL Power Rankings now. Final power ranking portion of our show. 18 players in the XBL. We have 16, 17, and 18 here in front of us. It's the Tobeans, followed by the Mythics, and then the Miners. Tobeans and Mythics, rookies in this league, faced each other in the AAA semifinals last season, having pretty slow starts, but each of them picking up a couple wins. It's the Miners who have had a really rough one at 0-6, losing a lot of tough games, especially when he scored a lot of runs, big comebacks, coming back to bite them.
Yeah, tough start for the Miners. Tough start for all these new guys. You're going to see a lot of newer guys in the league near the bottom after just the first week here in the XBL. But that's not, necessarily surprising to see, as it is a very tough league, we all know. But I think, look for a lot of these guys on the bottom to bounce back here as we get into week 2.
Yeah, all these players are going to be looking to fight for a playoff spot. XBL still in the format of only 12 teams making the playoffs, so we will see if these players are in that mix going forward. Week 1 still very early to tell. Obviously, only 6 games played for most of these teams, as we'll slide up the board to ranks 13, 14, and 15. We see Stoichiometry and the Burning Rivers, a good 4-4 week for them, able to pick up their first pair of XBL sweeps, followed by Speed Demon and the Pandas 0-6, but went after the big dogs. And then Permatil and the Flippers picking up a win in a split versus myself. Otherwise, went after a couple of experienced players as well, ranked there at number 15, same spot they were at last week.
Yeah, Perma playing some really close games against you and Ted respectively there, and took a game off you. I think Permatilt is really capable of beating anybody in the league. And Speedy as well. I can't believe the kid's 0-6 because he's a really talented player and capable of beating anyone. We saw him play Ashnod like 13 innings, and a great start by Stoichiometry. Every victory is huge, like you said. Top 12 make it, and to be 500 after a week is pretty good.
Yeah, 4 wins could be 3/4 of the amount that you need to even get into the playoffs in this league and in this talent pool. It's going to be tough to get the wins that you need if you're going to be in the mix. So big 4 wins for the Burning Rivers. We'll slide up the board here to ranks 10, 11, and 12. We have a tie at rank number 10 between the Moon Kingdom and the Astronauts, followed by the Colts, who take a little bit of a trade-off there, moving down to number 12.
Yeah, I actually put the Astronauts ahead of the Moon Kingdom this week after their big sweep, in a bit of a AAA rematch of old. Back in Season 8, Season 9 days when Pizza and Wishbone were both AAA players. And they're coming in slightly ahead of Boops there. We saw Boops, have some great scrims in the offseason, but coming out to a slow 1-3 start. He'll look to bounce back this week, as we know he's capable. He's got a solid build, so we'll see how Boops on PC does.
Yeah, I'd expect any of these three players as well to be heavily involved in the playoff conversation come the end of the season. Wouldn't be surprised if one of these players are one of the ones featured in that open match of the week slot we will have on the final XBL week. So that'll be something to look forward to as we move through the season. Let's check out 7, 8, and 9 here in the XBL. It's Ted and the Dragoons moving up to number 7 from 8 after a good 500 week. The Split King, as we called him pretty much during the stat segment last week, split in his 500 record already, followed by the Ice Caps, who have had a good start, 4 games at 3-1. Nice start from Webb and his new design team. And then the Flashertons, quiet start, only 2 games played so far against Luke, so took a couple of heavy losses. He's going to take a dip in the rankings 2 spots.
Yeah, Flash, not a lot of games played yet. Actually, more games here early on than Flash has ever played since I've been around. But he's taken a bit of an early season dip as Webb off to a good start. And, funny enough, Ted, the Split King, he's 500, but he's only had 1 split, and that's with Ashnod. So a big win there as he takes a game off the Blues and gets a sweep of his own against Permatilt, like we mentioned.
Yeah, big start for the Dragoons. Tough competition already for them. And as you said, Webb, big start as he moves up 4 spots in the rankings. I didn't even realize how drastically he had moved up after the pretty eye-popping offensive start, averaging 7 runs per game for himself, batting over 400 too. Seems to be a lot of offense here at the top, especially at the XBL. We'll move up the board to ranks 4, 5, and 6. And there's a tie at rank number 3. We're going to see the bottom half of it. As the GTM and the Sentinel started off 6-0 this week. Huge week for him. You can see averaging 11 runs per game, batting 444, all kinds of extreme numbers there. Followed by Luke, who he did sweep to start off his season. So Luke and GTM are going to be hot in competition with each other once again. Good start, though, from Luke, now back at 500 after getting a sweep versus myself today, who follows him up there at rank number 6, same place I was at last week.
Yeah, and a solid... staying right there in the top 6 is a nice start by you, and a big start, like you said, by GTM. Great job by him to go 6-0, and we'll see if he can keep on taking wins off some of these top 10 players like Luke.
Yeah, we would expect Luke and GTM to be in the mix perhaps for that, final top 4 spot, and that would engage a big buy round for them. So going to be big games going forward for them, go against the rest of the top of the table, who we're going to take a look at here at ranks 1, 2, and number 3. Ashnod tied with GTM there at number 3 this week. Weaver still standing pat at number 2, and then Lazy remains at number 1. Weaver and Lazy with a great split on match of the week last night. The offense here is absolutely insane. I mean, look, Lazy batting's 491. Weaver 408, and then Ashnod 473 with a 504 OBP. I mean, these guys they make it look easy every single time they're on the field.
Yeah, that's murderer's row right there, and you're really just splitting hairs, even ranking one guy ahead of the other. It's pretty much 1A, 1B, and 1C at this point, and we'll see if guys like Luke and GTM can take some games off these guys. The circle logos are dominating this season.
Yeah, big circle logos, nice designs here from the top 3. And congratulations to them for being ranked so highly in the rankings here early on. We'll see if they continue to remain there as the season goes on. They definitely seem like the teams to beat early. So let's move on now to the statistical portion of our show, some stuff that Ashnod has pointed out to us. And I'll follow it up after I just point out here quickly that Ashnod leading the pack with his 22 home runs leads us into our first stat. He's the Sultan of SWAT, the King of Crash, and the Colossus of Clout. Ashnod is 500 career home runs now, more than anybody. I don't know the exact total. I should have double-checked it before the show, but either way, 500. I mean, eye-popping. You said 503? Okay, here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's right here in front of me, actually. Thank you, Ox, for pointing that out. 503 home runs and counting. He could probably maybe hit 600 this season if things go well for him.
It's not going to be 503 for long, but definitely congratulations to Ash. Just to get there in just this short amount of time is just mind-boggling, and it would really be cool to see him get to 600 and get to 2 milestones in the same season.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be keeping a good eye on that, I think, in this portion of the show as we go forward in the season. Congratulations again to Ashnod, and that's just another thing to add to his already extensive resume of trophies and things like that. He's just got one more thing to nab, and that's going to be the XBL title. We'll see if he's going to be in the mix for that again this season, as he has been in the past few. The next thing we have to point out this week for you guys is more players opting for bigger stadiums. 17 of our Season 12's 45 players, which is a big 38%, have chosen the 3 largest stadiums as their home turf this season. It's going to be Shaka, Bengata, and Sakura. That's up 30% from Season 11. Sakura in particular went from no XBL players in Season 11 to 4 using it as their home field in Season 12.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's not that surprising to see people go to more pitcher-friendly parks. I mean, Shaka's kind of cringe for just how big it is. Bengata's kind of cringe just because of the color of the turf. But, I mean, AAA actually has the biggest jump in Bengata. I think I've seen 3 or 4 people in AAA have Bengata as their home park, which I think you and GTM were like the only guys, maybe Boops, who used that in the past. But, not super surprising to see people go to the bigger stadiums, try to get, some of those iffy warning track balls to stay in the park for them.
Yeah, definitely interesting to point out. And just to follow it up, the smallest 3 legal stadiums that the XBL allows, Founders, Red Rock, and El Viejo, remained steady as they were chosen by 22% of players in both Season 11 and Season 12. So on the flip side, not many players opting to go smaller to maybe advance their offense. Everybody going for those bigger parks to maybe, neutralize the threat of the people that are going to have to come in there and play against them. So interesting to see. I think that does sort of tie into the next one we have here, which is the elephant in the room. You see 4-5 there. It's the 4-5 contact and power style. If last season was the season of 5-bar speed, this season is certainly the season of contact. After just one team used contact specialist last season in the XBL, being Weaver, who ended up winning it all, that number jumped to 6 this season and 10 across all the leagues. The balance build still does, however, remain the most popular overall across all 3.
Yeah, we saw, I know, Rise and Fall and the Navigators both go 4-5 team build last season. I think Corruptions maybe did too. But it's definitely the new meta, and Weaver's made it famous. Just really maxing out your offense. Wishbone, I know, has done the same thing. It's a great contact build. I've done the same thing. To really just have as many good hitters in your lineup as you can, to have both those circles, to a comfort zone that feels good. It feels like a meta.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how things are going to stack out in the XBL and wherever else that meta seems to be apparent. But the AAA does not really seem to follow that trend. When the XBL was 56% speed demons last season, the AAA had no speed demon teams. And this season, with the XBL at 33% contact specialists and AA at 31%, the AAA does not have a single contact specialist team in their respective ranks either. So AAA just totally doing their own thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how they shake out down there.
Yeah, there's a lot of new guys in the AAA and the AA, so that was going to kind of be a dice roll as far as like how the teams and roster builds shaked out at the lower levels with a lot of new players. But it's definitely very interesting to me that the balanced build is still the most popular across all 3 leagues. I feel like that's becoming less and less popular, but I trust Wishbone's stats. He says it's still the most popular build.
Yeah, popular is one thing. We'll see if it ends up being successful at the end of the season. You can always sort of track that stuff in Wishbone's big stat spreadsheet for Season 12. It just got a brand new tab today, the single game stats tab, if you haven't already heard about it. So go ahead and check that out and make a new copy of the sheet when you get a chance, if Wishbone releases that pretty soon. And then our final thing to look at here that Wishbone pointed out was the specialist makes a return after multiple seasons of just one single player using the specialist trait in the XBL. 22% of the teams now have a specialist on their staff in Season 12. AA also has one specialist, and the AAA bucks another trend with, you guessed it, none.
Yeah, AAA likes the buck trends, but I should have brought Disappeareth back for this season. Gotta love a good specialist pitcher. But it's 60 points of your trait allowance. So it's, of the 100 base points you get to spend, that's quite a bit to spend on one reliever. So it's not surprising that it's not a very popular trade across the league, but it's surprising to see it used more this year.
Yeah, we'll see if those teams have success down the road with their specialist. We'll be able to look into the numbers, maybe do a little bit of surveying, how those specialists do later on in the season. So thank you again to Wishbone for pointing out these stats. I'm sure we'll have some more exciting stuff to go over next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Wish, as always.
We'll move on.
Pointed out things.
What was that, Ox?
Just some well thought out, good finds by Wish, as always.
Yeah, always some good diamonds in the rough, stuff you definitely wouldn't think of right off the top of your head. So exciting to see those. And we're going to move on now to our plays of the week portion of the show. Start off with number 5. It's going to be from the AAA, a game between Black Coffee and Ball Justice. And this is a walk-off single for Ball Justice, I believe, to get his first win in the AAA.
Yeah, and as we talked about, two guys that are no strangers to the one-run ball games so far this season.
Sorry, a bit of a loop issue there. We'll try and get the play to run through one more time for you. And as you said it, these two in extras playing a tight game. Ball Justice able to get the hit there to get it done. And for some reason, the play will not play all the way through. Sometimes I do seem to run into this issue.
You can kind of connect the dots there. With bases loaded, nobody out. It's a base hit. It's going to be a walk-off win, and congrats again to Ball Justice for their first W here in the XBL.
Absolutely, and we'll move on to play number 4. This one's submitted by GTM, a game against Wishbone. Absolutely insane dive to a double play behind second base there. Just huge, and we'll watch it again in slow motion as we get a bit of a slowdown from the GIF here. Takes a big dive. Nice play from GTM.
Sorry about that, Dwayne, but GTM and spoiler Tam Danitz, who you'll see later on in this clip, two guys that are just mainstays in this highlight reel portion of our show each week. It seems like they're always making the great defensive plays, and great job by both of them.
Yeah, for sure. Always making appearances here in the top plays, and we'll move on to number 3. This is one submitted by Ox. Interesting play that we're going to see here. You're ahead against St. Shiva and Azrael. And with the bases loaded and 2 outs, this one's hit into foul territory in right field. You make the jumping catch on the run to end the inning. That's a huge run saver. If that ended up in fair territory, I didn't really see how close it was, maybe a few feet, but insane play. Insane play.
Yeah, he was having a huge inning too. I couldn't stop him, and I thought for sure the game was going to be tied. Don't ban me for the jump catch, but it was a nasty play for sure. Ended up getting the W. Yeah,
it's one, maybe if it hits your glove, it could end up in fair territory too, before it ended up hitting the ground. So risky play no matter what you do there. Big one from Ox. Thanks for the submission. Move on to number 2. This is a big one. Speaking of Tam Danitz making appearances here, his first submission of the year that makes it all the way up into the top 2, and it's a dive from a Hudson in the outfield at Shaka. Wouldn't you know it? Absolutely insane ground covered here to make the catch.
Yeah, it's like he got on a slip and slide and just scooted 10 feet off the ground. Just insane reach and extension there, and also a good job of angling by Tam, of course, to get the old Shaka robbery.
Yeah, one of the defensive experts in the AA and AAA over his XBL career, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see him more up here again this season. And without further ado, we're going to move on now to number 1. If you watched Match of the Week last night, at the end of game number 2, this was the play that you pretty much guaranteed was going to be here tonight. It's a big 3-1 count against Lazy's cleanup hitter. He gets a hold of it to deep left. This would have put him within 2 runs, a 3-run homer, and it's Gannon Weeks all the way back at the wall, robbing the homer. Huge play.
Yeah, just incredible. This was actually one of 2 plays that Weeks made late in this ballgame that absolutely changed the complexion of the game and certainly affected the outcome. As he was responsible, by my count, of 5 runs saved in just 2 innings, back-to-back innings. So pretty crazy plays by Weaver, and no doubt, a no-brainer top spot here this week in the highlight reel.
Yeah, congrats to Weaver making the first play of the week of the season, number 1. Huge moment last night. It was a pleasure to call. That was insane, and a great split from both teams, as we already stated. Always entertaining to see 2 top players go at it on Match of the Week. And with that said, that'll do it for us here on Weekly Roundup tonight. Ox, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure, Dwayne. Thanks for putting things together for us, and it's been fun to do our first official week of the roundup. And we thank you guys as always for joining us. We love doing it.
For sure, everybody did a pretty good job of reaching those minimums last week. Let's keep that up for week 2. So continue to get those games in, continue to get your screenshots submitted properly, and thank you guys all for being here tonight. Keep submitting those plays, and yeah, just have a safe and pleasant evening. It's always great, and we'll be back again for more matches of the week on Sunday next week, and another weekly roundup probably on Monday. So have a safe and pleasant evening, everybody. Thank you very much.
Yeah, looks like we got some games in action right now. Go cheer some guys on, and thanks for joining us. Later, guys.
Have a great night.